What's up, Moose Jaw? We got some updates for you about the hyperbaric chamber.
That's not what this video is about, though.
Nope. Really quick, the hyperbaric chamber is staying, and it's going to be in the new hospital. It's going to cost about $600,000. They got to knock down some walls, and they got to put in some floors. It's going to cost some money, but we got it, and it's coming.
Yeah, the health ministry and the health region are paying for it.
Yep.
It's expensive. But there seems to be some confusion about who is responsible for getting this motion through to keep the hyperbaric chamber here. There are a lot of people thanking the Sask party and Brad Wall.
Like the Sask party.
Specifically the Sask party.
The Sask party.
Specifically the Sask party is thanking Brad Wall for it. I actually think that Brad Wall does deserve some credit for it because he could have moved the hyperbaric chamber anywhere.
Yeah.
And it would have looked good on him.
Yeah.
And I understand why the Sask party would be thanking him, because he bailed them out. We have to remember the Sask party was getting their asses kicked on this issue. The Cam Broten had made it political.
Yep.
And people were speaking out about it, and everybody was on the bandwagon. We need to keep this here. And the MLAs from the Sask party kept kind of quiet about it, and then people just kept digging, and Cam Broten kept digging, and reporters kept digging, and suddenly it became an issue where if the MLAs don't act on it, they're really going to take a beating.
They're in trouble.
So they do owe Brad Wall a thank you for bailing them out.
They do.
So, but I'm going to give Brad Wall some of the credit for keeping it here. Mm-hmm. He is a savvy politician.
Yeah, he's damn good.
He's good at he's like perfected the art of the U-turn. We were losing on this one. They were wrong. He managed to say, yes, we were wrong, and we're going to fix it. And I think it's wonderful. I'm going to give, and I don't like to give Brad Wall a lot of credit, but I'm going to give it to him on this one. But he does not deserve the lion's share of the credit.
Right.
The people of Moose Jaw spoke up the most about this. Mm-hmm. They were the ones that pushed this to where it was. The opposition party, the reporters like Mickey Jurek and Ron Walters for continually covering it.
The firefighters
heading
down to provincial legislature to
yes,
plead to keep this thing in Saskatchewan and Moose Jaw.
So the Warren Michelson wrote a little piece on his webpage, thanking himself. It's very self-congratulatory. I think he does mention the firefighters at one point in there, but he doesn't mention how the people are responsible for it. He doesn't, understandably, he doesn't mention that Cam Broten really is responsible for it.
He just talks about how the Sask party and himself listened tirelessly. They listened, and they listened.
He made a comment on this piece where he says, it's a big thing in Moose Jaw, and this is the message that we got, and we want to listen to constituents. We want to. It's nice to know he wants to listen.
Yeah, good. And that's your job.
Yes. It's nice to know he thinks it's a big thing, because back in February, he's quoted as saying the hyperbaric chamber is no big deal.
Right.
So, Warren, we're waiting for it. How about a little recognition, a little acknowledgement? Okay, on to further things. You want to bring up that Warren Michelson?
Yep.
This page we're talking about. There's a quote here. I don't want to go too hard on Warren Michelson for this, because it is well written, but there's one very lug-headed quote, and I want to be able to say, hey, look at this. Who elected this guy? And I'm going to do it, okay? This was very evident earlier this week when Premier Wall came to Moose Jaw and reiterated that we want to make sure we're a government that's listening and acting in the interests of Saskatchewan people. I'm going to repeat that. Premier Wall came to Moose Jaw and reiterated that we want to make sure we're a government that's listening and acting to the interests of Saskatchewan people. Well, thank you, Premier Wall.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding people of their jobs, because we weren't sure if we were supposed to be listening and acting on behalf of the people. We weren't sure, so it was nice that Brad Wall came to town and reminded us.
Yeah, that's what I got out of that too.
It might be the most clunkiest, but anyway, that's enough poking fun at Warren Michelson. It's a well-written article where he very heavily thanks himself for keeping the... Congratulations, Warren. Very self-congratulatory. Mm-hmm. Another thing I want to bring up is that there was an old comment that came up. Rob Carnie, and we're going to hold him accountable right now. Rob Carnie from Discover Moose Jaw, he does a little piece every once in a while called Carnie's Comments. I repeat, Carnie's Comments. And he just kind of moans about it's a good service. He moans.
Yes, I like a lot of his stuff. Yeah.
But this one I'm going to call him out on. Mm-hmm. Carnie's Comments, Hyperbaric Chamber. It's back in Moose Jaw. It's back in the news, and somehow I knew it would be. The hyperbaric chamber story is back. We told you about it years ago. He continues to say the Dr. David Ames learned it wasn't going to be included in our plans. He did his best to convince people in control, but to no avail. No big deal. No big deal. We don't need it. That's what he's kind of saying. He's given up. They tried. They didn't get it. No big deal. He understands why.
I don't know if he's actually saying that.
Yeah, that's I get it.
Yeah, that's what you took.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but that's I take it as like, he tried to get it. It didn't happen. No avail. He disagrees. He wishes they would have kept it, but he understands why they didn't. It's done. That's kind of what he's saying in this. I take from it. I'm done with it. We tried. We didn't get it. Some people were willing to fight, and they fought, and they got it. He really goes later on to... I'll just read the quote.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is NDP leader Cam Broughton taking aim at Moose Jaw North MLA Warren Michelson in question period yesterday, after he scolded the provincial government for building a hospital that is smaller than the old one. He asked if the premier was ready to admit this is a mistake, and then he says, and here's the member for Moose Jaw North. You'd think the member for Moose Jaw North would stand up for his community. Someone should remind Mr. Broughton that our new hospital and the Saskatchewan Party's commitment to building it is what won Mr. Michelson the seat back in 2007.
So what?
Somebody needs to remind me, I guess, what political angle in 2007 has to do with work being done or work not being done in 2015.
Yeah.
That's called a straw man argument. He just built up a fake little argument to make his guy look good while not really answering any of the questions or not really responding to any of the concerns that are current.
Yeah, I think he's just missing the point on that completely of what Cam Broughton was trying to get at.
Because Cam Broughton bringing it to question period gave the story provincial coverage, which is kind of what pushed it over the edge. Cam Broughton bringing it to question period might have been the single biggest moment in the battle for the hyperbaric chamber. So Carnie's comments, maybe have a little comment section this week admitting you were wrong.
There's no comment section on these Carnie's comments.
Yeah. Carnie, what's going on with this? Yeah, it's time to say, look, Broughton was right, I was wrong. I acknowledge it.
And why do you think he's so hard on NDP and Cam Broughton?
He's basically a Sask party apologist.
Well, look, check this out here. Like, you scroll up to the top, you've got Warren Michelson ad. You've got a Greg Lawrence one over here with a like to Facebook.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful where you get your news from, people.
Right. We've talked about this before. The Moose Jaw Express takes advertisements from the Sask party. Not saying that they're specifically pandering to the Sask party, but I see a lot of articles, we've commented on it before, where they really take it easy on them.
Yeah.
I actually work for the Moose Jaw Express, and they they have advertisements for both MLAs, and they're not too quick to condemn the MLAs. And I know this, I work there. It's a great little newspaper to work for. I don't want to cut them down for it, but they are taking money. There is a conflict of interest, and now we see Discover Moose Jaw. That's the three biggest news sources in Moose Jaw, all have a conflict of interest. Now, I don't have a problem with having a political sponsor. If a political party wanted to advertise with us, I would say sure. I have no problem with that. But I wouldn't write phony columns defending them and making up fake arguments to defend them just because they paid. To me, this is an advertorial. The Sask party paid for this column.
They do say, though, at the bottom there that these are the opinions expressed by Mr. Carnie.
They are his opinions, but his opinions don't concern any of the conversation points. He's not talking about anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have a problem with that. Just be careful where you get your news from, people. There is one news source in town that does not have a Sask party bias.
Mercy. Ego trip. Mercy. Ego trip. Mercy.